Welcome to Save Your Sanity, help for handling hijackals, those difficult, toxic, and often disturbing people in your life. I'm Dr. Rhoberta Shaler, the Relationship Help Doctor, and I'm here for you. You'll get the insights, skills, strategies, and support to stop tolerating verbal and emotional abuse, whether it's happening now or it happened to you in the past, maybe by a parent, partner, ex, relative, or even a coworker. Time to take life back, to recover and to rediscover you, your values, dreams, desires, and realize them in healthy ways in healthy relationships. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, I'm Dr. Rhoberta Shaler, and I'm so glad you're here with me for Save Your Sanity. I want you to save your sanity because being with a toxic person, a difficult person, a disturbing person, can actually be so much crazy making that you don't know where to turn sometimes. So today I want to talk to you about something so important, and you may not like to hear it because you don't want to think of yourself in these terms, but I want you to understand that if you are in fact doing these things, that you need to stop, because you need to get your sanity back and you need to stop that crazy making. And in order to do that, you really need to know about what I'm going to talk about today. So what I'm talking about is the question of enabling. And, you know, I'm always here for you. You can find me at forrelationshiphelp.com, F-O-R, relationship, H-E-L-P.com. So if these things are things that you need help getting your head around or knowing how to change, we can always talk. So remember that, forrelationshiphelp.com. So the big question, are you enabling a toxic partner? If you are, it's time to stop. And it's time to stop long before you think about divorcing or getting out of the relationship or going new contact. It's really important for you to stop enabling, because that means you start empowering yourself. So I want to talk about these very real things. And enabling, of course, we don't like to think about ourselves in those terms, because then it sort of feels like blame. Well, I'm doing it. I'm allowing it to happen. No, you came by that really, really organically somewhere in your life because you're probably a really good person. So you just think, if I'm more compassionate, if I'm more loving, if I'm more patient, if I'm less demanding, then the other person will change. They'll be different. They'll be loving. They'll be wonderful. And that's where the problem starts, because you keep thinking that that change will occur. You keep allowing them to behave badly, and that's what we call enabling. And high conflict people, or hijackals as I call them, are tenacious. They're like pit bulls with bones. And they just don't seem to want to let go of anything. And definitely they don't want to let go of you, because they are looking to you to be their supply, to be their validation, to tell them that they are important. And so they can't do that for themselves, and they can never get enough of it. So they want you to be doing it all the time. So there are certain things that we need to know, because if you're with a hijackal, they will keep you feeling put down, worn down, torn down, and strung out in stressful ways. And they have that tenacious ability to keep it up for years. You know, recently, and if you stay in touch with all that I do, recently I did a segment on don't feel badly if you stayed too long or you think you stayed too long. Once you wake up and realize what's happening, and you're strong enough within yourself to say, no, this is not going to happen any longer, that's the moment you can do something about it. And when that moment happens, that's the right time for you. It doesn't matter how many people have told you differently, that's the right time for you. So let's think of a few things that these hijackals do that keep you in this situation of always feeling like you need to take care of them. So they usually want things their own way, right? No question. It's my way or the highway. I will win in all circumstances. And they love to be the center of attention. And that fulfills their unmet emotional needs, but they would never admit that. So they like to be the center of attention. And maybe you help them do that because you think it will make them feel good. But you cannot do enough of it to ever fill that unmet need that they have within themselves. And then hijackals avoid taking responsibility for their own problems, and they certainly will not acknowledge any part they might play in the problems of other people, and that includes you. So you go to them with a problem, and guess who gets blamed in the end? You. So as I'm giving you these few things that I want you to think about, have I accepted these things? Have I been playing with these ideas? Because they'll go to great lengths to get you to agree with their rigid point of view. They want you to say yes to them. Yes, 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 and yes. And no matter how much feedback you give them, no matter how politely you put it, no matter how gently you spin it, they will not take in, reflect on, or welcome any feedback or input from you. They have no interest in the truth, in facts, or in accuracy. You've noticed that. I know you have. They don't care about what's real. They care about what's real to them and gets their needs met. So you can give an actual, factual account of exactly what happened, and they will tell you it didn't or that you've got it all wrong. And they live in a constant source of stress because they create it themselves. So they're living in that, and they keep them stressed with their own internal conflict. And that is certainly going to spill over on you and any children you might have. And somehow they manage to keep that at home. Often they don't take that out in the community or take it to work with them. And so you get the brunt of all of that. And of course, a hijackal is always looking for someone to blame. And you're so handy. You are just always there, so handy to blame for everything. Because, of course, nothing is their fault. And they don't cause any problems, right? So, as we're looking at ways that you might enable them, have you allowed this person to behave this way? Were you so worn down that you gave up and they would just do whatever they want and say whatever they want and you just don't bother me? That could happen to you. And that's still a way of enabling the behaviors to continue. And then just one more thing, and this is a big thing. You know, a hijackal is a person who manipulates, who exploits, who seduces things and ideas for their own purposes to get what they want. And I need you to really notice this, that they will use the children in the same way. They will use the children to fulfill their needs for control. Either they'll take control of the children, or they will endeavor to give the children everything and control you by saying, don't do what your other parent says, do what I say. So control is a major, major thing there. And they don't care about the consequences on the children. They care about getting their needs met and in the moment. And as you well know, things can change on a dime. So, a caveat about these people, these hijackals, they are honestly unaware of most of the things they're doing. So that's why they get so confused and annoyed when you point them out, because they're not the least bit interested in knowing that. That's all negative feedback, and of course they're perfect, so why would you give them negative feedback? So if there's a person in your life that sounds like this and you're thinking about leaving them, then it's important for you to know that although you have likely been enabling the behavior for all the time you've known this person, it's time to stop. So why don't people stop? Usually because of their internal dialogue. Usually something happened in their life that gave them this turn of mind. And so when things are going badly, they kind of look in their internal mirror and they say, oh, there must be something terribly wrong with me for this to be going on. Why does he or she treat me this way? I must have flaws. And the most likely thing that's going on is that you are in fact enabling their behavior by having weak or low or inconsistent boundaries, and you allow them to repeatedly ignore and trample them. They're going to do that anyway, but you have to be firm and keep those boundaries in place. You may not be able to make them change, but you keep telling them anyway, that's not all right with me. No, that's not going to happen. And it's very important. Don't lie down and play dead here. Get back up, stand up strong, and enforce your boundaries. I can't tell you that you can enforce them and make them do what you want them to do, but you can certainly stay very strong in stating your boundaries and don't change. So you may be unwittingly allowing this person to continue to behave this way, and you may be making excuses for them and letting them get away with this inappropriate behavior. And I know, please don't take what I'm saying today as sounding like I'm putting any blame at your door. Somewhere in the mix of your life before this time with the hijackal, you already accepted the fact that you were going to question your own sanity when somebody said something instead of questioning theirs. You came by that honestly. So there's no blame in this. This is about waking up and realizing, I've been letting this person get away with this. I have not been strong enough to say no and have some teeth in that no. And if that person happens to be physically or sexually abusive, you need to make it stop right away by leaving. Take your children, take yourself to safety. This is not okay. You know, I'm really highly charged about this because I see too many people enabling the behaviors of hijackals because they think it's going to bring about some sense of peace. But it isn't. It's going to bring about more and more and more abuse. And that's what it is. It's verbal and emotional abuse, and in many cases, in far too many cases, it's also sexual and physical abuse. But verbal and emotional abuse is horrible, and please don't excuse it on any level. Don't let them walk all over you, or confuse you, or upset you, or irritate you, or make you furious. Don't let them make you sick or get you so stressed you don't know your own name, because when you allow that, you're enabling their behaviors. And you're making it possible for them to think they can treat you that way and that everything's all right, and it isn't. You deserve love. You deserve to be treated with honesty, safety, trust, respect, reliability. And with those big three that I talk about all the time, equality, reciprocity, and mutuality. You didn't sign up for this treatment on a conscious level, but you may be accepting it. And now is the time to say no more. Now, I'm not saying rush out and say that to your hijackal. I'm saying that to you when you think about yourself, you say, no, I am not going to be treated this way another moment. You need to draw some lines in the sand in ink. It's not about compromise, because emotionally intimate and healthy relationships are focused on high cooperation and collaboration. Sure, there's a compromise in there now and again, especially when one partner doesn't really care about something. But if you've been worn down by a hijackal, you're probably compromising and accommodating and compromising and accommodating, and you don't get anything that you want. That's not healthy. So it's time to draw those lines in the sand in ink. And it's time to stop allowing this to happen. It's time to have strong boundaries, non-negotiable boundaries, and have a strong sense of your own values and your own rights. Don't be seeking validation from that hijackal, because that person's only willing to randomly reinforce you when they really want something and it suits their purposes. This is just crazy-making behavior. And you may often relate to this. Hijackals kind of say, come closer, and as soon as you take a step in their direction, they go, stay away. Come closer, stay away. So confusing. That's how they keep you in ambiguity and chaos and uncertainty. That's a tool that they use to control you. And you need to see it for what it is and say no more. And you may think you're putting your all into the relationship by making excuses and rationalizing and justifying their behavior. You may think that that's a good thing to do, and it isn't. It isn't. Once you've accepted that these behaviors are not what you want, and you've seen them over and over, maybe for years, you need to get up on your back legs and say to yourself, no, I am going to become empowered. You know, when people ask me whether they should just walk out of a relationship, unless there's sexual or physical abuse going on, I say no. Do your own work first. Become powerful. Get clear. Understand that you deserve to take up space and draw breath, that you have every right to be assertive, to say what you think and you feel and you need and you want. And as long as you're not blaming that on anybody, that's your right. And the hijackal wants to take that away from you. Don't let them. It won't help if you're kinder or quieter or less demanding or more understanding or selfless or endlessly patient. The high conflict person, the hijackal, will not come around. They won't like you any better, and they won't stop doing what's so corrosive and horrible. So what has to stop, and this is kind of a rant today, and I'm sorry, but it's so important, and I feel so strongly about it. What has to stop is the enabling. Do not let them think for a moment it's okay with you. Do not go screaming and yelling. Do not go off into having 3 drinks and lying down in a darkened bedroom. Do not let them take your power away for another moment. It is time to draw those lines in the sand in ink. And this is trickier than you thought, and that's why I tell you repeatedly, I'm always here. If you need help to see this clearly, and you will, because you've been in it for a while, if you're even thinking of divorcing, empower yourself first. Get clear. Understand. You know, I was working with a client today who I hadn't seen before, and she had already got a divorce, and she said to me, oh, I just walked away and didn't take anything. And I went, whoa, I really wish we'd talked before you even announced that you were going to get a divorce. Because you need to be empowered to know what you have rights to before you even consider this. So I know all this is easier said than done. For me to suggest that you could just stop enabling, I'm not suggesting you stop on a dime. I'm saying start considering it. Start thinking differently about it. Start being self-reflective and say, what could I do differently? Maybe 1 or 2 little things. Maybe I can just respond with, I don't like being treated this way. Maybe it's just you affirming and reinforcing the fact that you have the right to say, I don't like being treated like this. I don't like to be spoken to like this. I find this disrespectful. You have those rights. And I know how tiring it is to be with a hijackal. I've been there. I've done that. I have the nasty video. And that's why I can help you. So please, once again, I will say, I am not blaming you for a moment. You came by all this naturally and organically. But today, when you realize that maybe I've been making this behavior okay enough for this person, I want you to stop doing that. Will you do that? Because this is the first day in the rest of your life when you say, I will stop enabling these nasty, crazy-making behaviors. I hope you will. I'm Dr. Rhoberta Shaler. Find me at FOR, Relationship Help, HELP.com. Go to my YouTube channel, same name, For Relationship Help. And you might enjoy listening to my other podcast, Emotional Savvy. Find it where you like to download your podcasts. I'm glad you joined me today. I hope it made sense to you, and I will look forward to talking with you again soon. I'm so glad you spent this time with me today. I hope you heard something that touched your heart and empowered you to move forward. You can have the life and relationships that you most want, and that begins with you, within you, today. I'm always here for you. Life can get better, and you heard that from me, the Relationship Help Doctor. I'm Rhoberta Shaler, and I work with clients throughout the world through video conferencing. We can talk. So learn more at forrelationshiphelp.com, forrelationshiphelp.com, or visit me on YouTube at For Relationship Help. Join me for next week's shows.